Yo guys, xVFRoSTeD back again with another X and Y narrative Wi-Fi battle for you guys. This is a battle I had against X9 during the finals match of Pkmninja's tournament hosted by Of My Cement 67, sponsored by him. This turned out to be a really close and epic game, so I hope you guys enjoy. Looking at this team preview, nothing much wanted to take on Conkelder, so I decided to lead off with it, as it turns out to be rewarding because he ends up leading off with the Magna Zone, and I know he was going to switch out immediately after that, so I decided to go straight for the Drain Punch, seeing that there's nothing much that really wants to come in and take that, other than his Torkoal, which is a physically defensive wall, but Torkoal can't really do anything back. Though this gets him to get his Stealth Rocks up this next turn, it doesn't really bother me too much. The only problem it gives me is that my Volcarona is pretty much crippled because of the 50% Stealth Rock weakness, and I do not have any sort of Rapid Spinner or Defogger on my team. So after I knocked him off, got rid of his lefties, I just continuously kept on Drain Punching him as he nearly makes a misplay using the Lava Plume, almost burning me. And if I got burnt, I got the Guts boost, and Conkelder becomes even more of a threat. Then, I Drain Punched again, he survives, and he realizes his mistake from the last turn. He decides to just get the Rapid Spin damage off. Not that it makes a difference, but yeah. So I decided to go for the knockoff to take out the Torkoal, or if he decided to switch out, I would have been able to knock out off an item on another Pokemon. As he switches into the Heracross, I can't really do too much to Heracross, and I don't want to take too much heavy damage, so I decided to pull a switch out to my Trevin, thinking he'd go for the close combat. And then he goes for the Mega Evolution for his Heracross, and this is what surprised me. He actually has Substitute on this Heracross, which caught me by surprise. I had no idea that this thing had Substitute, or even carried it for that matter. And he decides to go for the Pin Missile. After the third hit, my Citrus Berry kicks in, and I recover about 25% of my HP, so I'm able to take the last two Pin Missiles that are coming my way. And I decide to sacrifice my Trevenant using the Curse, because Curse actually goes through the substitutes and does 25% damage each time, and I don't really have much to take on a Heracross. Like, I could go into my Volcarona, I probably should have the next turn, but I actually went into my Conkelder. Was a huge misplay. I didn't want to switch into anything else, so I decided to stay in as he revealed the Focus Punch to me. A 185 base attack, stab, 150 base power Focus Punch. That's going to annihilate anything that comes in. And I made the stupid decision to stay in and go for the Ice Punch to break the sub, and I lose the biggest threat to his entire team, which was so badly played on my part. But I bring out my Hydreigon next because I know that Heracross doesn't bring any sort of priority, and I decided to go straight for the Draco Meteor, not wanting to mess around, not wanting to go for any other gimmicky moves, because this thing turned out to be a really huge threat, and I didn't want him to get another attack off on my team, as he decides to leave the Heracross in because there's no safe switch in for Hydreigon. As he brings out the Weavile, I know this thing carries Ice Shard, so I decided to switch into my Mawile. Seeing as he can't really do too much to Mawile, I could get the Intimidate off, and I'm resistant to both of his stabs thanks to the Steel Fairy typing that my Mawile has, and I take this Ice Punch rather nicely, and this gives me a free opportunity to either go for a substitute or just get a free play rough on anything that decides to come in. As he decides to bring out the Magna Zone, I almost forgot that he had this, and I go for the Mega Evolution, and I do go for the play rough. I could have went for the substitute here, but then again, if I did go for the substitute and he turned out not to be the Magna Pole and be the Sturdy, and I go for the Sucker Punch, the sub wouldn't be too beneficial to me anyway. I decided to go for the Sucker Punch, thinking he wanted to stay in, go for the Thunderbolt, try to get some damage off my Mawile. Didn't end up working, and I ended up taking out his Magna Zone, which was very nice. As he decides to pull a switch into Ditto, or IMU, and decides to transform into my Mawile, I decide to fodder off my Volcarona here, seeing that it's really not going to be too much of use during this match, and he does go for the Plane Rough. I'm hoping for the Flame Body hacks, but unfortunately it doesn't end up happening, which is not that big of a deal, and the only thing I really had to come into it, knowing that it's Choice Scarfed, I'm Choice Scarfed on my own, is my own Hydreigon, and I decided to go for the Fire Blast. I was so close to going for the Draco Meteor and predicting the Goodra to come in, but I didn't go for the Draco Meteor, just in the case that if I misplayed and he ended up going for the Play Rough instead of switching out, I would have just screwed over my own Hydreigon, so it wasn't worth the risk. As I do go for the Fire Blast on the Goodra, I do get the burn, which doesn't end up mattering in the slightest during this match. I just switched into the Kabutops thinking that he might predict my Mawile to come in, and I was right. He ends up going for the Flamethrower, and he hits my Kabutops. That's 4 times resistant, so it doesn't really do too much. Next turn, I expected him to go for a super effective move like Thunderbolt or something along those lines, and it does. He ends up going for the Thunderbolt, triggering my weakness policy, so now I'm a +2 Kabutops. And I decided to go for the Flail next turn because Flail is a 200 base power if your Pokemon is at 1 HP, and the power of Kabutops. That would have killed Goodra at full HP. That's why the burn didn't end up mattering, as he ends up actually bringing in his back in his Ditto, and I'm a -1 speed, so if I use Endure and he hits me with an Aqua Jet, I would be able to regain the speed that I just lost. In other words, I would be able to speed tie with this Kabutops that he copied off of mine, as he does get the unnecessarily critical hit. I do get the speed back up, so I can speed tie with him, but I tried to go for the second Endure, 50% chance, just in the case he did go for the Aqua Jet again. I wanted to be able to outspeed him and get some damage in, but unfortunately the Endure didn't happen, so I went down, and I decided to go a Pulse Switch out into my Hydreigon, and I decided to go straight for the Draco Meteor, because the only thing he has left is this Ditto, which ends up dying to this Draco Meteor, and the last Pokemon he has is a Weavile, and he wants to preserve the stash for the next turn, because he actually goes for the Ice Shard to take out my Hydreigon with a critical hit Ice Shard, which was I think it would have killed regardless of the crit, so I don't even think it mattered. And my last Pokemon turns out to be a Mawile, and Weavile can't really do too much to Mawile. Of course, I take Stealth Rock damage. Didn't obviously matter, as he goes for the Ice Punch. He's actually praying for the Freeze Hacks here, and I decided to go for the Play Rough, knowing that he's Focus Stash. I just wanted to break the stash, as he, he didn't Plays me. I did get the attack drop, obviously did not matter, as he does go for the Ice Shard. It doesn't do too much, but the reason he did that is he's trying to bait me to go for the Sucker Punch, and he knew I was going to go for that, so he could try to go for the Ice Punch again, hopefully get Freeze Hacks, but nope, he didn't get the Freeze Hacks, and this came out to be a 1-0 victory in my favor. This was a really, really close game, and I end up winning Pkmninja's tournament during this time. Very good game, man. I really enjoyed this match. If you guys did too, please don't hesitate to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to battle me, you can add me on Skype, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, and like always, guys, I'm signing out. Later.